So we're at Mobile World Congress 2018 in Barcelona. I'm here with Kevin Riley from Ribbon. Kevin, great to see you.
Good to see you again, Ray.
So Ribbon might not be the most familiar name for some folks in the industry. Can you just give us an update on how the company came into being?
Sure. So Ribbon came about through the merger of Sonos Networks and Genband that closed right at the end of October of last year. We've been hard at work going through the integration, reforming a common strategy for the two companies. I think we're there now, and we're really getting on with moving the company forward in a consolidated strategy. I think some of the motivations for why we wanted to put the two companies together was that we thought both companies on their own could benefit from more scale. I think each of us had great technology, but having larger sales teams, larger R&D organizations behind that. The technology in that story allows us to monetize that more effectively. So, we're really excited to get to a point of scale. I also think both Genband and Sonos are on highly parallel but complementary paths as a company. Genband being very focused on kind of the application layer and service transformation at the application layer, moving from TDM to IP with application servers onto embedded communications and UCaaS with the Candy offer. Where Sonos was really focused on transforming the edge for the delivery of the application with session border controllers and policy. So when you put the two together, it kind of fits nice like a foundation with a house on top. And so putting the portfolios together was pretty straightforward for us, and I think it gives us a more complete solution so that we can compete in what's a tough space. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So that's like about 5 months into the new company or so. What have you brought to Mobile World Congress? What's the big story here from Ribbon? So we got a lot going on. We have our Candy story, which is really coming into its own, improving it nicely for us. So we have really showing off our UCaaS and CPaaS capabilities and the ability for us to enable enterprises and service providers to really build differentiated applications that have embedded communications inside of them. So as a combined company now, we have more resources behind Candy. We have more reach into where we can position that product. Okay. And we're really accelerating on that, and it's proving it nicely for us for this year. We launched a new product here at World Congress, which is called Ribbon Protect. This is really what we believe is we're taking big data analytics into unified communications first, into our space. And what we're doing with it is we're very focused on enabling much more sophisticated security capabilities in our product suite and throughout the unified communication suite by leveraging big data analytics, by effectively networking all of our kit and all of our deployed kit to be able to take a broader view of network behavior and start to find more sophisticated threats. Because we know that these threats are only becoming much more sophisticated. Right? These bad actors aren't going up to the front door, beating on the door and saying, "Let me in." They're subtly probing around a network, which means one node on its own can't figure this out. So this whole concept was born from security attacks are becoming much more sophisticated. It's hard to do the job on your own. Security is becoming much more top of mind with our customers. This notion of zero trust, a lot of people say, well, that means the inside is just as dangerous as the outside. I look at it a little differently. I say every application has to be locked down and secure. So UC security is really important. So we put that together. Security is now very important, and how do you effectively do that in this new world? You have to network, take as much of the data back to an analytics or data lake engine, if you will. Absolutely. Make informed decisions, and then adjust that policy in real time back down to the network. I think it's kind of a recipe that's proven out in IT on IP data, but I haven't seen it applied broadly in UC, and I think we're the first people to do it. Right. Okay. Yeah, that does sound like a really interesting move, especially as unified communications gets used by a lot more companies and becomes strategic really in what they do. Now, have you applied that kind of same focus of analytics in other areas of the business as well? Yes. Policy was always a big area of focus for Sonos, wasn't it? It is. So we've been leading here with a message around security. But the Ribbon Protect platform is really a platform that we have different capabilities built on top of it. Because once you collect all the data, you can do a lot with it. Right. Never mind security, you can do other things. So the other two dimensions that we've positioned this platform against are service assurance. All right. So now I can look across the network and build an end-to-end view of quality, detect degradations, adjust the behavior of our products in the network to address those, whether it's rerouting, changing a codec, taking someone from, adjusting bandwidth, adjusting prioritization through the network or through our products based on quality metrics we're seeing. So a big thrust that we've gotten really good feedback on is the network-wide service assurance. And then the third is, God forbid when something goes wrong, which it will.
Right.
Now we can troubleshoot end to end. So we can stitch together ladder diagrams and CDRs across the network to give a consolidated view for, say, a UC session across the network, where today's model is you go in each box, you log in, you hope the problem was there. If it's not, you go to the next one. So we've kind of focused along security, insights, and service assurance, showing the customer how their network's behaving and either flagging when it's not behaving up to their SLA or helping them show them as it's saturating so they can do appropriate network planning, and then troubleshooting. And so this platform is really that foundation to do that underneath.
Okay.
All right, so we've integrated this into all of our SBC technology. We've integrated it into the GenBand SBCs and gateways and soft switches into our policy router. And we built the product so that it could actually integrate with non-ribbon equipment. So we've integrated it with Palo Alto firewalls. We're working closely with Fortinet now to do the same. And the concept is that enterprises and service providers, they make this investment in this equipment. It's in the network already. And I call it the conga line of security. They all do their job and spit the bits out the back, and the next guy does his job. And really what we're trying to do with Protect is just help them monetize what they have and use it more effectively. Build a smarter security story on top of it. So it's not intrusive. It's value add on top of what's typically already in the network.
Okay. So you mentioned like you're essentially evolving some of the core products that you've had for some time now. You mentioned the SBC. How does products how's the portfolio resonating with customers in 2018? And have you had any sort of big notable wins of late that you can talk about?
Yes, it's resonating strongly. I think the strategy is proving exactly as I had hoped it would. I think we've had two major announcements with one very large tier one. It doesn't mean it's our only business, but one that I can talk about very openly that I think is a great proof point that vets out our strategy, and that's with Verizon in the United States. We were announced as their VoLTE interconnect provider in software for their basically, to migrate, build out their next generation interconnect edge. They're doing it with us in software. I believe that's probably going to be the largest deployment in SBC software in the industry as we roll through that with them. It's up now and ramping. That combines both our SBC and our policy router together, all in software on the interconnect edge. All the way on the other side of the network, they announced I believe 2 weeks ago, as the core to their SBC as a service offer to basically do almost zero-touch provisioning of SIP trunk turnups for their customers. Right. So they're taking the kit that it's a version of virtual CPE. Verizon's chosen to run it at their network edge. So basically all the kit that would have been on-prem in the different boxes is now turned into software, pulled back to their network edge. They run it in their data centers. We're the SBC that powers that. And what I think's what I'm excited about that is that it really vets our strategy, which was when we started this journey with virtualized SBC, it's easy to cut a bunch of engineers loose and they're going to go optimize and see how big they can make something, which we have to do for interconnect. And we did a great job coming up with what I think is a differentiated microservices architecture, leveraging what I think are the most state-of-the-art cloud-native design principles.
Right.
But at the same time, we also said it's just as important to optimize down, right? And be able to deliver our application in a very small, tight little footprint, because on the CPE side of the network, highly cost constrained. They want to dedicate the least amount of data center footprint to a customer that they turn up, or if it's a white box that's going on-prem, they want to make that the lowest end box that they can. So we set up down a path and said, look, we're not going to try to take one SBC and stretch it, try to make it a little bigger over here, and then shrink it over here and try to force fit it, because either one or both of those aren't going to be optimal. We took our core intellectual property and said, what's the optimal packaging for the premise, the access edge, and the interconnect edge? And we've built our SBC along those lines so that we have a nice offer that optimally addresses those. And I think Verizon's a great proof point because they picked us for both. They picked us for microservices scale out on the interconnect side with VoLTE, which also proves in our VoLTE capabilities. And then on the CPE side, where it's a less is more approach, and we're able to really get skinny for them, and we won competitively there. So to me, that's the strategy on both ends of the spectrum, which we all feel really good about. And I think we're, I like the cards we're holding. I think we're in a really good position, and I know we are, because we're moving this forward with other carriers now.
Right. So in terms of the SBC product line evolution, is there any new innovation coming down the pipe that you're going to be talking about more in 2018?
Yeah, so great question. Glad you asked. You're going to see us start to message very strongly. We've already started, but we're going to increase the messaging around the leveraging of graphical processing unit technology that's permeating the data center. So these GPU chips were originally envisioned to process video and deliver video on the internet and through data centers. What we found now is that these chips are extraordinarily good at artificial intelligence, machine learning, and also mining cryptocurrency. And they are now permeating all the cloud infrastructure. And they're becoming the new co-processing engine in the data center. They're in Amazon, they're in Azure, they're in Google Cloud, they're in SoftLayer. And where we were as a company, we looked at this technology and said, is this suited for media processing? Can we take advantage of this? I think it's disruptive technology that's moved into the data center. So for me, I'm obligated to look at it and go, can I use it to my advantage? And what we've done is we've been able to take our intellectual property from media interworking and transcoding and port that onto graphical processing units, or these GPU chips. And we've been able to achieve disruptive performance. When we went from purpose-built hardware to trying to do transcoding and media interworking on standard Intel platforms, you take a sizable performance hit because those chips weren't designed to do that.
Right.
We're able to claw all of it back, and in some cases more, by moving to GPUs in the data center to put us on par with dedicated purpose-built hardware performance. So it's incredibly disruptive. It's giving us a huge efficiency advantage if that technology exists and we could take advantage of it. And we just had a major tier 1 in Japan choose us for their carrier interconnect because of that technology, and they're going to roll that technology out with us. So I think it's incredibly disruptive. We're in a position to take advantage of it. I think it's very unique, part of the Ribbon story, and it's already proven in with a tier 1. So we're really excited about that as well.
Okay. So a lot of great innovation, a lot happening under the new company brand. It'd be great to catch up later in the year and find out how things have evolved further. Kevin, great to see you again.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.